would be worst case scenario because now you got to live up to Jerome.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, that's not something I think really anyone can do. That also brings us to the Messier. Sorry, that brings us to Messier. And the fact that the entire NHL crew couldn't deal with everybody chanting Messiah for Messier. Mark, we talked about this on your show.
Yeah.
I disagree. I don't think Messier was the reason for those teams. I think Gretzky was the reason for the first two. I think Jari Kurri and Paul Coffey were the reason for the second. Or it was four, right? That the Oilers won
Yes.
back then.
Yes.
And Gretzky got Gretzky was there for three. Messier got the one. I think it's got more to do with Messier, Curry, Coffey, those boys. And I think, in all honesty, we're gonna jump into the Stanley Cup Finals here. I think, in all honesty, what Gretzky did with the Kings and with Luc Robitaille is what Connor McDavid is doing right now. Connor McDavid, for the record, if you guys haven't been following, 8 points. 8 points in 2 games. That is, he's shattered NHL records with that.
He's fourth all time right now in playoff performance. He, with this 4 points 2 days ago, he got to 42 on the year, or 42 in the postseason, which you're going to see a lot of Gretzky on that list, but like he passed Gretzky. If he does another performance tomorrow in Game 6, like he did in the last 2 games, and put us another 4, he jumps to 3, and then all he has to do is get to 48. I think is the number.
I think you're right. I think you're right to tie best all time. I will say this, Mark, you're a Pens fan. He looks like Mario. Correct me if I'm wrong.
A bigger physical frame than Mario had, but yeah, he controls the game just like Lemieux did. I mean, Lemieux controlled the game. I don't care who you put on the ice against Lemieux. We were robbed, gentlemen. Well, you're younger than me, but I was robbed, to be honest with you, of watching probably one of the greatest players ever play an entire career, between his back problems, Hodgkin's disease, all that stuff. Like when he laced up the skates, and there were times he couldn't even tie those things. When he laced up the skates, every time he touched the puck, it was captivating. You never knew what the hell was going to happen. You just didn't. He had vision on that ice that is replicated by nobody. And as much as I love Wayne Gretzky, and I think he's just a tremendous hockey player and a tremendous person, because I have met him. Mario is just, we were robbed. We were robbed with seeing an entire career from him, because he may have shattered some records as well.
The other one I want to bring up, because, and I'll say it, I don't give a shit. Fuck cancer. The other one we were robbed of the rest of the career was Saku Koivu. Mario's career was robbed by cancer. The back problems, yeah, I get it. Every player deals with it. As a hockey player myself, I've dealt with knees, backs, ankles, all of it. But we were robbed of Mario Lemieux's full career because he'd be this close to Gretzky or past in terms of numbers. And we were robbed of Saku Koivu, who was honestly probably the best player of his of his era due to cancer. So fuck cancer. I had another thought there, and I kind of completely lost it because I had to go
So
turn
angry at
the.
cancer.
That's
that,
my
a thought
favorite
left his head.
reason that I like to talk to you, Reckless. You
You cut off there, Mark. What'd you say?
So passionate went on mute.
He's so passionate he went on mute. He did. He went on mute. I gotta unmute you, Mark. Mark, hold on, buddy. You're on mute, bud. Mark, I can't unmute you.
His headset
You chose to mute yourself, apparently, according to StreamYard. But yes, no, I am very passionate about hockey. I am very passionate about these players. I do love Mario. I do love Saku Koivu. It was a shame to see these guys get their careers basically run out of town by cancer.
Yeah, I mean,
The fact Mario came back is more than impressive. One of my favorite hockey memories is the game where Mario and Sid played against Sidney Crosby and the now defunct Atlanta Thrashers, and Ilya Kovalchuk pointed at Sidney Crosby on the bench and told them, "Watch this," and then scored a goal. Mario is one of those guys that could do that. That could literally take over a game. We saw Connor McDavid take over the game. Was that last night or the night before? Connor just decided he was taking over that game. Also, boys, did you see the picture of PK Subban legit passed out on the head on pillow, sleeping on the
no, I didn't see that one.
on the plane to Edmonton. What a great picture that is. If you guys haven't seen it.
He went up to Boston and was there for the NBA Finals because he was partying with them afterwards.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him and Tatum, and he was actually hanging on to the NBA championship trophy. So I was like, so he's
awesome.
partying up there in Boston, and then had to go to his other job at the NHL and fly out to Edmonton.
That's kind of crazy, though, being a Montreal kid going to Boston.
It's a risky game.
That's a risky game. Ashton, it is a great jersey. I'm gonna show that comment, buddy.
I will say this though about the Stanley Cup so far is that I thought this series was going to be over when we hit 3-0. Like stats say, you don't come back from that. One team's done it. What, the 67 Maple Leafs? I think did it. Wrong.
1942. It was the last time a team came back in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it was, oddly enough, also the Maple Leafs.
Yes, I knew it was the Maple Leafs. I didn't have the year though. But I'm just shocked at how much of a turnaround we've seen from the Oilers, because in every facet of games 1, 2, and 3, they were getting dominated everywhere. And their biggest weapons, like McDavid and Draisaitl, weren't scoring. They weren't doing anything. The fun stat I saw up until Game 5 was Jack Hughes had more playoff goals last year in the series and a half that they played than McDavid has had this entire postseason.
Wow.
And I had to double check that. I was like, no way. He's got to have 10 goals. He only had 6 goals at that point. But then game 4 and 5, he turned on. He got a goal and 3 assists in both games, or one game it was 2 goals, 2 assists. Once he gets hot, that's going to be scary for Florida. And they need to regroup, and it's going to be a raucous crowd tomorrow in Edmonton.
I honestly think that we're going to end up with a 7-game series for the Stanley Cup Finals. I think also we're going to shout out my favorite NHLer right now, Matty Tkachuk, for that diving play. You're losing a game the chances of you winning that game are and you decide to take a headfirst dive into the net. What an unselfish play.
The cup was on the line. I mean, it's empty the tank. It's empty the tank season here. Like, if you have any chance, I think when that save happened, there was at least 17 seconds left. So if that went to a Florida person, they could have got it back up the ice and had another push at it. It just unfortunately went to McDavid, and he scored it on the empty net.
Wouldn't you say that?
So I'm gonna welcome in my buddy Adam, who's been celebrating his first Father's Day. So, boys, if you don't mind, let's all once I add him to the stage, let's all say Happy Father's Day to Adam, because he just had his first kid.
How we doing?
Happy Father's Day, brother!
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yes,
what we talking?
How's Samuel doing? How's the fever going?
Hey, he's doing a lot better.
Ah, nice.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're talking our favorite black hockey players. We brought up Anson Carter. We brought up Jarome Iginla, Tidge Iginla, Grant Fuhr. Who you got? You got another one to add?
Yeah, I mean, Fuhr's my guy. I mean, he was a beast back in the day. Just an amazing asset to every club he was a part of. So I definitely a Grant Fuhr guy.
I don't disagree with you. Those what was that? The year he took the St. Louis Blues with Brett Hull. What was that? 90. I'm old, so the memory doesn't serve as well as it used to. But he took a late 90s St. Louis Blues team to the Stanley Cup Finals. I believe it was, right? Or was it just the Western Conference Finals? Either way, Brett Hull was on that team. Grant Fuhr, one of the best goalies that doesn't ever get talked about. Who else you got? You got another black hockey player that we can talk about, or Mark, we can talk about the fact that hockey broke the professional sports color barrier years before Jackie Robinson played a Major League Baseball game. We got to shout out Willie O'Ree for that. I feel like Willie O'Ree doesn't get enough credit. I feel like he's not talked about enough. You guys can give me your thoughts on that. I just feel like, hockey has been the one sport that has accepted everybody from day one.
Right.
I know it was, a little whitewash, for lack of a better phrase, in the early days, the NHL. But Adam, go ahead. Give me some takes.
You kind of caught me off guard here, sitting in the break room here. I was more, hoping we were going to talk at Edmonton, Florida, when I hopped on, talk about that.
Let's go Edmonton, Florida. Give me your takes. I need an O-snap take.
I don't know if it's just Connor being Connor, doing what he's doing, but I mean, he's definitely changed the outlook of this series. Even if it ends up being 4-2, like we all thought they were getting swept, right? He came in and almost single-handedly just did that Connor magic, and now we're still playing hockey. So it's definitely interesting. Didn't think it would get to this level for sure.
Well, they're showing like those first 3 games, like they just didn't show up. Their top line was just like non-existent, and they couldn't do anything to put anything back past Bobrovsky. And in the last 2 games, they just realized, oh wait, we're the top 2 players in the NHL right now. We should start acting like it and scoring our goals and getting all of our assists.
Right.
Well, here's
100%.
the question. Is it Connor did it, or is Bobrovsky choking again?
I don't think it's Bobrovsky choking. I think it's Connor and Leon getting into their rhythm, because Florida plays a very physical defense, and they know as soon as McDavid and Draisaitl hit the ice, they're on the radar. They're not going to sneak by the defense. They're not going to be back there. They're going to have to work to get their points and their goals. But I feel like they have found what the weaknesses in Florida's defense and are now trying to exploit it. It's unfortunate that they're down 3-0, or they were down 3-0 in the series when they started realizing this.
From the perspective of from the perspective of Bob, I want to say that no, I agree with you, Rob. He has not crumbled, but Florida's got to pick one of those guys that they want to take out of the game. And right now they're trying to take them both out, and they're spreading themselves thin. You take out McDavid, it changes the whole complexion of the game. You start forcing him to do things he doesn't like to do. You start hitting him again, it changes the complexion of the game. And at this point, we're not seeing that. They've gone off of their script that they used the first 3 games to win. And until they get back to that, I agree with you, Reckless. It's going to be a 7-game series, and it might end up that they come the whole way back and win this.
I mean, it would be insane to see, it's again since 1942. And Rob, you're going to love this statement. That was 2 years after 1940. That was 2 years after the Rangers won their last cup before 1994.
Oh, wow.
94, nevermore, baby. 94, nevermore. Also, got to give a shout out to my buddy Chris and all his buds who are watching over at the Red Wolf Inn in New Jersey, right across the street from the Warren County Jail, which is kind of funny, because that's where all the Rangers players belong, especially Jacob Trouba.
Only Matt Rempe belongs in there.
Jacob Trouba is the bigger problem. Jacob Trouba is the bigger problem.
But Jacob Trouba can skate and score. Too. Matt Rempe, we're not sure can play.
Jacob Trouba can't even fucking skate. Like, are you kidding me? Did you watch the playoffs? Come on, man. He doesn't skate anymore. It's not Jacob Trouba in Winnipeg anymore. That said, I gotta cut to Adam and Mark. I gotta cut to Adam here. What do you think about the Markstrom trade?
Man, I mean, I haven't watched him that closely, but looking at his stats, he looked like an average goalie. But what's your take? I mean, that's your neck of the woods, coming straight to New Jersey. I think it's going to be a good fit for what you need over there.
I mean, from a New Jersey standpoint, like, anything's better than what we had.
Gotcha.
Yeah. They were saying 3 is what we averaged last year.
It was so gross.
Fair enough.
But they were saying, like, Markstrom had a .905, and they said if he can get it up to a .91 save percentage, like, that Devils team is a deep playoff team.
Nice.
As long as they stay healthy.
So yeah, that's again, you brought up losing Dougie earlier, Rob. That was, in my opinion, the day the season ended for our Devils.
The heart of the soul of the team just went out there. Like I was saying before, at that point they had put 2 rookies onto the top defensive pairing, and it just fell apart after that. Like, you can't expect to go far with relying on 2 rookies to run your defense. But I mean, I liked the trade itself. I said this before. I think it's just a Band-Aid, and I hope that Schmid down in Utica blossoms into a 1A goalie in that time frame. But 2 years of Markstrom is going to be tough.
I'm hoping Dawes continues to grow. I know that's a big ask for to take on, a team with, for lack of a better phrase, just youth defense. And it's a big ask for him. We're going to transition down to Dallas. Adam, what do you guys want? what do you think you need? Who do you think you guys go after in the UFA market?
Right. I mean, I've said since the season ended for us that my two wants, I want to keep Tanev and I want to keep Dutchy in Dallas. Dallas just sent Dellandrea to San Jose for a 5th-round pick, so already making some moves. Man, like I said, I want to keep those two because they were so crucial to just different aspects of the game. If we can find a way to do that and then kind of look at some other options, whether it be draft picks or maybe deadline moves that potentially can be made. I think those are the two core things that need to happen is keep those guys in place. And I believe they want to stay is kind of what I've read. So hopefully Neil's able to make it happen for us.
I have only heard that Tanev does not want to leave Dallas. I heard he loves it there. So I think you guys are going to keep him. But my buddy Chris just texted me. He's saying the New York Rangers think they're going to move on from a lot of players. They already moved on from Barclay Goodrow because, as you brought up, the Sharks. The thing he brought up that was weird for me is Chris Drury and Mike Greer used to be line mates. And it might have been a favor to the New York Rangers by Chris Greer. Could have been Mike Greer, rather. Sorry. Could have been a phone call of, "Hey, we're putting him on waivers. You want him back?" I know the Sharks are in rough shape in terms of their entire roster. I know Barclay Goodrow started his career there. But boys, give me some thoughts on that waiver pickup. It's not often we see someone get nabbed off the waivers.
Yeah, I mean, him going there is definitely, in my opinion, just a contract dump. Like, they couldn't pay him. I was looking at it earlier, and before that, going into offseason, the Rangers were only going to have about $6 million in cap space to play with, and they have like a bunch of players that they need to re-sign. I know Blake Wheeler was on that list. I don't know if they're actually going to go back and sign him. Eric Gustafson is an unrestricted free agent this year, and you got to be thinking Igor is looking for a contract increase. He's going into the last year of his contract, and he's only making $5.6 million, and that's criminally underpaid for what he's given the Rangers the last couple of years.
Hey Rob, here's a question for you: do you pay him $12 million that he wants?
That Igor wants?
Correct. Igor Shesterkin is looking for $12 million a year.
I mean, Vezina Trophy winner 1 year, a series before the Stanley Cup the year after that, like, was he 28?
Roughly.
Right, yeah, he's 28 right now. Like, you might have to pay him. And, like, if he walks, that team collapses. That team's not as good. Him? Do I pay him if I was the Rangers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I pay him if he's the Rangers. Like, you need a goalie. We've seen in this league, you need a goalie.
How do you pay him? You got to move on.
We've also seen,
and that's why I'm not the GM of the Rangers.
We've also seen Antti Niemi win a Stanley Cup, and Antti Niemi was below average for his time in the league. Do you need to pay $12 million for a goalie?
I don't know if 12 million is going to be the number they decide on, but I definitely think a pay rise above the 5.6 that he's getting right now. Can I see something along the lines of like 8.5, 9 million? Probably. That's going to be almost double his current contract. I don't think they get the 12 just because I don't think they can work it.
I think 10 has got to be the Rangers' ceiling on that.
I agree.
I don't know, Adam, Mark. What are your thoughts? I think 10's got to be the ceiling for the Rangers.
For the Rangers, they got to take a look at who they've got in the minors coming up because he is 28 years old, and you just don't know where it goes from here. You start showing out $10 million for a goalie that's 28, going forward, and you're going to find yourself strapped and moving on for him at some point, and you're not going to want to do that inevitably. You got so much money tied up in individual players, and even though the cap is moving upward, I get it. I get all that. You got to watch who you're paying here. I mean, he is their defense, though. I mean, he's their backbone. You know it, and I know it. But it's a really, really tricky situation there with him, especially because they are pressed up against that cap. I'll be curious to see what they do.
The other question there is, Adam Fox is being ripped apart in the New York media, and he was playing with a completely torn MCL. So, there's something to be said for there not being defense in front of Igor Shesterkin and still putting up those numbers and doing what he did in the playoffs. I don't think the Rangers win a single game in those playoffs without Igor Shesterkin. I think Igor won every single game the Rangers won.
Let me ask you this, though. Would you or would you not say that hockey is a young man's game? We have so many young guys playing in the league. Once you hit 30, it's almost impossible to win a Stanley Cup. And that's always been proven. Like there's if I think about it, who's a superstar that won a Stanley Cup as the marquee guy once they've hit 30 and beyond? And that's why this cup is important to McDavid.
Patrick Elias.
Again, we're looking
Kenny,
at superstars.
I've got to head out. I got to bounce real quick, guys. But you guys keep talking it up. I only have 15 minutes here to spend, but
right, Adam. Adam,
I got to roll.
Thank you for hopping in.
And let me
enjoy your Papa's Day.
Let me add just two quick things. A little snap for you, and go Stars. Boom.
See ya.
Love having you in here, Adam. I think. Well, I'm not going to say go Stars. I will say go Devils. But I think you gotta pay that goalie. I know Carey Price is a bad example, but he carried that Canadiens team to a Stanley Cup final. You gotta pay that goalie if you have the goalie who can be, the Tom Brady, for lack of a better phrase, of your team.
Was Brodeur over 30 when he won the 2 cups, or was he right around there?
I think he was only over 30 in 03.
In 03. I mean, it's still there.
It's just a proven fact. And it may not be goalies per se, but I'm saying this, Rob, it's very rare that superstars take their team to the cup and win it once they hit the age of 30. It's just very, very rare. They become a secondary player.
This is going to be a Joker sponsor. What about Ray Bork? How old was he when he won the cup with the Canucks?
Secondary player.
Hey, don't you bring that. That was the best Devils team that has ever existed. And we lost to Ray Bork.
It was the childhood dream for Ray Bork. If there's a solace to be given right there, it's the fact that he got his cup.
Oh, that's 100% the only reason I am not mad about that, about losing that cup. Like that is honestly one of the best. The NHL Network, they all, because it's the cup. That one is the only one that makes sense. And I hate to say it because, and I'll say it right here, fuck Boston.
It's a good sentiment.
The only reason I can take solace in the greatest New Jersey Devils team to ever exist is that Ray Bork got his cup. The dude deserved it when Cam Neely was his center. The dude deserved it when Joe Thornton was in Boston. He stayed in Boston the entire time just to try to win a cup for Boston. The fact he got moved to Colorado and not New Jersey was simply because Boston wouldn't trade him to us. Lou Lamoriello tried.
They wanted to load that.
We're not trading in the conference.
They wanted to load that team up. Hey, fellas, I hate to cut you short. I got to go get my boy. I want to make sure.
All right, Mark. Have a good time, man. Hope you had fun in the pool.
I did. It was wonderful today. I appreciate you inviting me on. I'm sure I'll see you maybe next Thursday again.
Hey, man, you're always welcome on the show, my brother.
And the cup will be over by then, so.
It will be.
Post-cup conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, you guys have a good night again. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Thanks, Mark. Always enjoy to see you. But Rob, let's get into inclusion in hockey. Let's talk the GM at the time. I believe it was 2005. Sean Burke, right? Talking about his son, and how hockey is for everyone. It is Pride Month, so we gotta, give a shout out to that. But hockey's been one of those sports, like I talked about earlier. Willie O'Ree broke the color barrier for professional sports in hockey. And I don't think that's talked about enough. I also don't think the fact that being gay has always been okay in hockey. Like we can go back to 2002, an episode of Degrassi: The Next Generation, talking about a gay hockey player. And GM Burke talking about his son who unfortunately passed from suicide, being a gay hockey player. It's something we don't talk about enough. Inclusion in hockey is something we don't talk about enough. So give me some thoughts on what you think. Like, I know you've been around gay players. You played beer league with gay players. It's at least to me, I played hockey at Ohio State. It's not a problem. And I think people make more out of it than they should.
It's definitely a tricky conversation piece. My position is hockey and sports, for that matter, are for everyone. As we've said before, sports are an escape. Get out of the everyday life, just turn it off for a couple minutes, and then go back to life after the games are over. Nobody should be put down for the things that they like and enjoy and want to how they want to live their life because of they shouldn't be excluded from any type of sports. This isn't just like a hockey thing. This is an all sports thing. We've seen around different leagues players come out and finally be like, hey, this is me, this is who I am. And the old moniker used to be like, oh, if you say something like that, you're gonna get ostracized from your team. Something bad's going to happen to you. Nothing bad's happened. People have changed their mindsets. If people have different beliefs, they have different beliefs. Everyone's entitled to that. But everyone should be able to live freely however they want to live. That's just my take.
I'll disagree that no one's been ostracized for it.
I didn't say no one's been ostracized for it. They shouldn't be ostracized. They shouldn't be ostracized.
Okay. Misheard you there because Colin Kaepernick. We can start there being ostracized.
Well, I mean that's a different animal in itself. He's fighting for the rights of people. It's not like he came out and said he was gay and then he was ostracized or he was sent out of the league because of it. He had a lot of pressure happen from taking the knee on the field because of how African American people were being treated at that time.
I mean, I will say this as a veteran. Hey, what's up, little man?
Just hugging, saying goodnight.
I will say this as a veteran. And I know this is a hockey show. This is a hockey podcast. This is, we mostly talk hockey. At the end of the day, as a vet, and I know my buddy Dan, who is a host of one of our other shows on Peak One Sports Network, agrees with me on this. As a veteran, it was disrespectful for him to sit on the bench during the national anthem. What the respect came from was him taking a knee. It came from a Green Beret telling him the best possible way to protest is the same way we hand a flag to a mom. I've been a part of multiple military funerals. I have, handed flags to moms. Colin Kaepernick taking a knee is not disrespectful, at least in my opinion as a veteran. I know other veterans have other opinions, but as a veteran, I feel like that was the most respectful move he could have come up with.
And that was the point I was going to allude to with you on that, especially because he reached out to him, or vice versa. One of them got in contact with the other, and they had a whole live discussion about it. And he said, like, okay, if I can't sit, what's the best way to do? And then the thought process of, like, oh, taking a knee. The issue at hand was nobody else really knew that. So they just saw him taking the knee and we're just like, hey, he should be standing. It's like, no, you don't know the meaning behind that. And that's why you're thinking this is as bad as sitting, and it's not. He's trying to be as correct as possible, but also still want to bring attention to the injustices that are happening.
Right. And, yesterday being Juneteenth, it's, important we talk about this. It's important we talk about Willie O'Ree breaking. And I'm going to keep saying it because to me, it's one of the coolest things the NHL has ever done is Willie O'Ree. Like, just, sure, we don't care. Why should we care about color? And the NHL, I think, at that time did the right thing. And I think Mr. Burke talking about his son and hockey is for everyone. I feel like hockey, happy Pride to everybody who celebrates, by the way. I feel like hockey was the first one to really all right, I'm going to say some shit I probably shouldn't say, but to take it by the nuts and go, everybody gets to play. Everybody gets to play. It's not a matter of race. It's not a matter of your sexual orientation. Hockey's for everyone. And I hope you feel the same way. And I hope that everybody listening understands that I'm not trying to diminish anybody's personal beliefs or what their feelings are. But Brian, I think it was Brian Burke, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, talking about his son, that was one of the most powerful NHL moments outside of, watching the Devils lift Stanley Cups that I've ever witnessed. I might be alone in that opinion, and I'm fine with being alone in that opinion. But Brian Burke saying that, and it felt like it opened the door for gay hockey players. It really did. I'm not gay. I do have a gay kid, but it felt like it opened the door for the rest of sports to accept gay players.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things I loved in the past, especially the past couple of years, is the fact that NHL teams started to embrace pride and having warm-up jerseys and having rainbow-colored tape to show that, like, hey, you can have pride and we're still going to support you because hockey is for everyone. One of the biggest disappointments I have is the number of players who are like, those are way against my beliefs. I won't take part of this. I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to use the rainbow tape. It's like, okay, we accept that you should be able to do that, especially if it's just a warm-up jersey. If they want to wear a regular warm-up jersey instead of like the rainbow one, fine, let them do that. That's their prerogative. But if somebody wants to go out and support them, let them. It disappointed me this year when the NHL like took away like the Pride Night stuff, and they went in like they didn't allow anybody. They didn't have like a full official one, but there were a number of players even during warm-ups with the warm-up sticks were having rainbow colored tape on there, knowing full well that they were going to get fined by the NHL for not being like the regulation of what they should have been doing. And
I mean,
it's like,
if I read NHL rules correctly, there is no problems with your stick tape being whatever color you want. I agree with you though. I think it was I can't remember the goalie's name. I'm gonna lose my head over this one. There was a goalie who decided to wear his the colors of his indigenous tribe on his forehead, on his goalie helmet, and they decided, the NHL was like, no.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's Marc-Andre Fleury.
There you go. I didn't realize it was one of my favorite NHLers of all time, Marc-Andre Fleury. Hey, if you ever want to hop on the show, please hop on. I'll tag you later. But no, pulling, like, getting players to not be able, telling players they can't have a stance, like, right or wrong, like, whether I disagree or not, it shouldn't be a thing. We should allow players, these are public figures, for lack of a better phrase. I don't have a better phrase than that. These are public figures and celebrities who are using a platform that they have rightfully earned to make a statement. And I don't think we should stop that. I think the NHL is wrong for that. I think the NFL is wrong for blacklisting Colin Kaepernick. You can, at me at Kenny Mays, and my Instagram is at Captain Fuckpants if you hate me for that comment. But I don't think players should ever be blacklisted for having an opinion and using the platform they've earned, for lack of a better phrase. If that makes any sense. But that's going to lead me. Go ahead. Give me your take.
It's very. I love sports in the sense that sometimes it's very hypocritical, where they're like, "Oh, you are a pillar of the community, and you need to be helping out whenever you can to make the world a better place." And then
also, I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second and say, "Hey, PK Subban, you've done amazing things for every underprivileged youth in every town you've played in."
They were saying you should be a pillar of your community. You should help out whenever you need to. You should be a role model to the young men and women of this world. And then when they actually try and do it, it's, oh, stick to just playing your game. Stick to just being, the person on the field. And it's like, you can't have us do both. Like, we're trying to do what you're saying to do, and then you cut us down whenever you try to not when we try to actually do it. And that's the same thing with Kaepernick. He was on the field, had a position of power, like you're saying, and was like, "Oh, I can use this to do some actual social good." And then when he tried to do it, it's, "Oh no, you're being a problem. You need to stop. You're not doing it the right way." Well, tell me what the right way is, because any other right way, nobody's ever going to see it. Nobody's ever going to listen. Nothing's going to get changed.
Right. What is the right way for these players to have a stance? Going to hockey, Anson Carter had a stance, and he took it, and he went far with it. Jerome McGinley, I don't want to cut him down, but he kind of did the whole keep your head down thing that
a lot of players
fans,
unfortunately do.
That fans want to see, like, oh, you got to keep your head down, and do what we want you to do when we want you to do it. It's South Park covered it really well in that crack baby basketball episode. It sort of seems like the owners and the commissioners have decided that if you speak up, you're out, which is unfortunate because like I brought up Sean Burke, Brian Burke's son, he ended up committing suicide because of how he was treated in locker rooms. It's a difficult topic. Going like talking black people in sports and talking gay people in sports. So I applaud you for being brave enough to have a conversation about it. But how many gay people have been ostracized and put out by professional sports leagues? It's an insane number, and it's unfortunate. That said, I'll bring up something I didn't text you about, bud. So good luck with this. Possible landing spots for Mitch Marner.
That's a good one. I think he stays in Toronto.
They don't have the money.
I think I want to see what his cap hit right now is.
It's over $10 million.
I mean, yeah, he's 10.9 right now. He has another year on his contract. What is he? He's 27. This might be a wait and see type of deal. Like, I don't think they're not in any rush to move him. They get another year out of him. They can try to make another run at the Cup, even though they'll probably fall short in the second round again. But after that, I think it's a next summer problem for the Maple Leafs. Unless they're just so atrocious this year, which I don't think will be the case, because the Atlantic Division is always just the top four teams of Boston, Toronto, Florida, and Tampa Bay, and they're going to make the playoffs. So there's not going to be like a fire sale going on at the end where it's like, we want to get Marner's contract off us right now. They'll play out the contract probably and then try to work him in the off season.
All right, the other big news out of the NHL today is Anthony Mantha has been informed by the Vegas Golden Knights that they are not going to pursue renewing his contract. I'll throw out some landing spots. I do think Mitch Marner gets traded from Toronto. I think Mitch Marner, and I will laugh hysterically at it. I think Mitch Marner lands as a New York Ranger.
They can't pay him either. We were just having a discussion. They got to pay Igor before they're going to pay Marner.
They can if they shed Panarin like they're trying to.
I don't know if they're trying to shed Panarin or not.
They're trying to shed.
Is one of their favorite players to have.
My understanding is they want to blow up the core, and they want to move on from Mitch Marner. Or I'm sorry, not Mitch Marner. They want to move on from Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad. Is my understanding. I could be wrong.
Mika's going to be so tough because his contract's through 2030 at 8.5, and he's 31. Getting rid of that contract, it's an albatross of a contract right now for anybody who wants it.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge contract. But that said, Utah needs a star.
It's true. Utah Hockey Club is going to be looking to shop this year. They're definitely going to need to make a splash in the draft or with trades or something like that. Somebody who needs a fresh start, I think. Maybe a Mitch Marner could go over there and be the leader of that team. I don't think he will, but it's a possibility. They're going to have enough cap space because I think only half of the Arizona Coyotes team is coming with them over there. So they're going to be doing a lot of shopping in this offseason. You're on mute. Helps to have a microphone.
Sorry, trying to get my Messenger app to work, but apparently it doesn't want to work. I was gonna shout out the lovely lady who decided to show her boobs at an Oilers game.
Went viral for that.
Yeah, she did. And I think I sent you the picture or the video of her response today.
Yeah, it was her saying I showed my boobs on television and went viral for it. What about it? Didn't care.
Big whoop.
Yeah.
Big whoop. Her name is Alex Carr, and I'm gonna tag her in the video and try to get her on because clearly you're a hockey fan. If you're willing to take the top off at a hockey game. The other thing I wanted to touch on, since we're both New Jersey Devils fans, let's talk about the 2022-2023 revenues. Hey guys, if you follow us on Peak One Sports, you'll see it there. The New Jersey Devils, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the sixth.
Oh, it was close.
Sixth highest. In total revenue at $240 million.
I saw that.
For all you Dallas fans, your Dallas Stars were $210 million. Is there an excuse for the Devils to take in $240 million in revenue and for the Prudential Center to look the way it does?
That's two different conversations we're going to have right there. For them to get in that much money, I mean, when teams are good, people are going to see it. You're going to see the revenue increases on there. That's why you have Arizona, who's scrounging for any type of money. They had no stadium to play in. Their stadium, they were playing in the Arizona State college hockey team stadium that seats 5,000, where every other one in the league seats at least 15 to 17,000.
They also made $120 million.
Mm-hmm.
$128 million made by the Senators, 151 by the Blue Jackets, 158 by the Sharks, and 159 by the Sabres.
But take a look at that. Like you see the disparity between the top teams and the bottom teams. How good are the bottom teams compared to the top teams? Or do we see the Islanders in the lower third? No, because they're going to make the playoffs. People are going to their games. Their revenues are going to be up. I mean, the Devils being up there, yeah, we made the playoffs last year. That was for the 22-23 season, you said those numbers were for?
Yes. 22-23.
I would love to
the
see
Islanders,
the 23-24.
The Islanders were 183 million. Unfortunately, 2023-24 has not been released. I'm using Forbes numbers.
But I mean,
also since I have you, Sheldon Keefe. Yeah.
Great.
What's your opinions on that hire versus Craig Berube?
I think Keefe is going to come in and he's going to do what Lindy couldn't, and that was put responsibility onto the players and hold them accountable. Lindy kind of ran the team like a daycare at some points. Everyone was doing whatever they want. If there was a mistake, the only person who got their finger pointed at was Alexander Holtz. For some reason, he just kept on getting benched. Nobody else in the team was getting benched. Keefe, from what I understand, is very like, if you don't do your job, you're getting demoted. Either first to second line, second to third line, third to fourth, or just you're going down to Utica for like a couple games, and then we'll get you back up here once you have learned your lesson. And I think that is what's needed on the team at this point, because like, while I love Jack and I feel Jack can do no wrong, obviously he can. And we're gonna see him reined in a little bit, and that's hopefully going to build his strength as a leader and a player, to show that he doesn't have to be magical on the ice every single play. He'll need to be magical on the ice when it's needed.
He is one of my favorite Devils. I got to be honest with you. I think Nico is the heart behind the team. I could be wrong. It happens on occasion. But I think Sheldon Keefe is going to get Nico to be Nico at the end of the day. I think he's going to get him to get that locker room. What's the word I'm looking for? Cohesion.
Yeah,
I think Sheldon's going to be the one who can get that cohesion. I wholeheartedly wanted Craig Berube more than I did Sheldon Keefe. Craig Berube is a fantastic coach. Best of luck to him in Toronto. But I feel like he was the type. Craig Berube was the type of coach that Jack needed. Like the no nonsense. Like, I'm not taking your bullshit. You do not own the world. You have not done anything yet, coach. That's what I feel like you get Berube. Keefe, I feel like, is going to be more of an encouraging coach.
I think, and I hope, this is my hope for him, is that we get that like sweet spot in the middle. Maybe it doesn't happen year one. Maybe like year 2, 3, we see it where it's like, all right, he's tough when he needs to, but he also lets him go and lets the star players be the star players and take over the plays that they need to be played, but reels them back in as soon as they like, hey, things are getting too wild and crazy out there. Like, I think I want somebody kind of like Knobloch.
That's an interesting take.
Coaching style, because what he did up there in Edmonton this year, especially that team started very poorly, like 2-9 start the season when they fired their coach and hired Knobloch, and they kind of just like turned it around. And they relied on McDavid. McDavid hadn't put up numbers like he had previously. Like, do you remember like a couple seasons ago when McDavid was putting up like 150 in like 2-3 years? he got reeled in. He still was around 100 points, but like he became more of the like stalwart of that team.
People were talking McDavid possibly hitting 200 at that point.
They were relying too much on him. And if he didn't perform, and like in the playoffs, they got to the Western Conference Finals 1 or 2 times, and they couldn't get over that hump. It wasn't until they're like, all right, we need to like settle him down and get everybody else to perform around him. Have Connor make everybody else better. Play through Connor, not with Connor, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense as a hockey player. I was playing hockey as long as I did. I've played with some great players over the years who, made everybody around them better. And that is, what Edmonton needs Connor to do. And I kind of feel like that's what New Jersey needs Jack to do is make everyone else better. Don't worry about getting going coast to coast. I'd like to see Luke understand that message too. I think Sheldon Keefe might be the guy who can get through to them in a very, Sheldon Keefe's kind of a how do I say this without insulting the man? He's kind of a soft-spoken coach. And, I thoroughly think that he is going to be a great answer for the New Jersey Devils. I don't think it is the perfect answer. I
think it's better than rough. Rough.
You couldn't have gotten worse than rough, in my opinion. In terms of rough should have been promoted to the front office, and Andrew Brunette should have been promoted to head coach.
Well, my issue with rough is like he wasn't a authoritarian type person where he would like throw down his iron fist when he should have. He was kind of that soft spoken. If you messed up on the bench, he wasn't screaming at anybody. He was just sitting there. He'd be like, he talked to the assistants and be like, all right. And his biggest thing was benching Holtz if he like let a pass get through. But you wouldn't see him like screaming at Holtz or telling him or like showing him the play. You'd just be like, all right, you're just not going back on the ice. And it's like, what are you doing? Like sometimes you need to get yelled at to know what you're doing wrong.
My biggest issue with Ruff is that I don't ever remember an instance where Ruff had the board and was drawing. I remember every single assistant doing it, including Nasruddin, who kind of sucked. But I remember Brunette being the one.
Mm-hmm. Draw up the plays.
Drawing the plays.
And Lindy sat there.
Yeah, exactly. That face right there. That brings me up to your thoughts on Paul Maurice, because we got about 30 minutes left of the show. I will do it if you gotta hop off by myself. Yeah. But Paul Maurice just behind the bench, pointing at every player, and he just reminds me of old school Jacques Lemaire, just pointing at every damn player.
And I'll say this as my last point here before I have to get off. I think players need that. If you're just sitting there and having that, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed aspect of, and every time something bad happens, nobody's going to learn anything. Nobody's going to take the respect that the coaches need to. Players need to be held accountable, especially when they mess up. And players mess up all the time. It happens. But you got to be able to be like, hey, stop doing that. Get back on the line right here. Let's get it again. Like, we can't be sitting here and just be like, all right, we'll address that after the game. No, address it now. Get it on the ice. If he goes, oh, I'm messing up like that, I can switch up my play, and maybe that'll save a goal from happening, or that'll win us a game.
Exactly, like Matty Tkachuk diving the other night to save that goal. That's, you get it from your coach. as a hockey player myself, you get that from your coach. That is, in my opinion, one of the greatest hockey players I've ever seen. Unfortunately, in a losing effort. But the last thing before I let you leave here, give me your opinion on Pat Burns.
Ooh, where's he at now?
Dead.
Oh yeah, that's my memory of everybody. So Pat Burns
would be the coach of the 2003 New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, the 03 Cup one.
Left due to cancer. Ended up dying of cancer. May he rest in peace. But he was. I mean, you're a Devils fan. You've been watching the Devils. Hey, Rob, how old are you?
35. So I've been watching.
So I'm 36.
I watched hockey before I started watching when the Rangers won that cup in '94, because my next door neighbors were Rangers fans, and we were watching, and it was Devils Rangers, and he would just like get in my face like, "Oh my God, we're so good, we won the cup!" And then the Devils came back next year, and I got to do it to him, and it was like the best thing ever.
That's such a cool sports memory. That is honestly my memory of the '95 Cup is getting to go to the party in the parking lot. That all the Rangers fans were like, hey, "You're gonna have a party in a parking lot? Yeah, kiss my ass. We're gonna have a party in a parking lot."
Well, the stadium was in the middle of nowhere in East Rutherford.
Yeah,
where else were you gonna have a party? You had to walk the cattle trails to get to your cars.
Oh, dude, that was I gotta admit, I was on my buddy Dan's show a couple weeks ago talking about slamming my hands into the catwalk, chanting "Let's go Devils." That era of I miss it, man. I miss it. I miss the old building. I miss the old stadium. I miss the old barn, for lack of a better phrase. Mm-hmm. Those. I know Dan and Ashton talked about it. A minor league stadium closing by them and getting demolished. Buildings hold more than just teams. They hold memories. They hold fans. They hold families. So the old Brendan Byrne Arena, because that was my first ever game, was when it was still Brendan Byrne Arena, Continental Airlines Arena, giant stadium. Those buildings, mean things to people. Yeah. And I feel like it's not respected enough. I'll let you leave with this. Since I like to bring up professional wrestling on this show pretty regularly, I posted a picture of me doing an RVD pose outside my apartment overlooking the Little League field. What's your feelings on the Howdy Six? Well, the Wyatt Six.
The Wyatt Six. The Wyatt SICKS.
Attacking on the Pat McAfee show.
I mean, wonderful to see wrestling just get out there. It's always been such a closed circuit, especially within WWE, that if you weren't in the world, you didn't have the know. But now so many eyes are on the product, and pairing with the UFC, having Pat McAfee, and then Pat McAfee being like, "Yeah, come on my show. Let's do something weird. It's going to get people talking." And that's exactly what happened. We didn't see any characters on that. They just looked out into the end. If you guys haven't seen the clip on there, they're like, "What's going on over there?" Then all the lights cut. And that was like with 6 minutes left in the show or something along those lines. And then the feed just cut.
It was, I think it was about 10 minutes left in the show.
Yeah.
And you see Pat go, "What the fuck? What happened to our security?" And then,
and now all the people who know, I got to tune in Monday because that's where Pat McAfee is on Mondays.
Yeah,
And then
so
you get more eyes on the product.
It's gonna be fun. But before I let you go, give me your prediction on Game 6.
Oh, that Edmonton barn is going to be rocking. History tells us that no team has ever won the cup in Edmonton on the road. They're like 0-7 history. History and stats are meant to be broken. I think Florida gets it done 4-3.
I think Florida does a little more than that. But I totally agree with you on Florida winning Game 6.
They got embarrassed the last 2 games, and that's not going to happen a third time.
No. I mean, I don't think they got embarrassed last game. I think it was a lot closer.
They had to come back. They were down they were down 4-1, I think, at one point in that game. So they had to fight back to get to 4-3. And then, then the empty netter hit. But what are you gonna do there? You just lost 8-1, and then you went down 4-1. It was almost looking like a rout, and you salvaged the game, but you still lost.
No, it's still a loss. A loss is a loss is a loss at the end of the day. But they didn't lay down and die. No. And I feel like it's meant to be. History is meant to be eventually broken. I think the Maple Leafs eventually win another cup, but
100 years from now.
Yeah, maybe. But Rob, let the fine folks that have joined us let you know where they can find you if they want to follow you on Instagram, Facebook, anything like that.
I don't really use my Instagram that much, but I'm on Twitter every so often here. You guys can find me at Rob Polish Name. And yeah, I talk
you
about
on Twitch?
Not anymore. I used to be. That was when Twitch was first a thing. I was like, my young days of I'm gonna be a video game streamer and I'm gonna make millions of dollars like Ninja. And then I never had more than 8 people in my stream, and 7 of them were my friends being nice to me.
Well, Rob, I truly appreciate your time. And I'll let you go since it's 11:39 here on the East Coast. But I'll be around for the next 20 minutes talking a little bit about hockey, a little bit about wrestling, a little bit about a whole bunch of stuff. And talking about my feelings on Brian Burke. But hey, buddy, thank you for joining. Hope to have you on the show another time.
That was great. Thank you for having me, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you later. So what's up? It's just me, Reckless. I'm gonna do a little shout out here. Mostly because Adam did something really, really, really cool. And created us a new theme song based on the Firefly Funhouse from WWE. So I'm gonna play that in the background. I'm gonna try to turn it down. There we go. But hockey-wise, the big landing spots, I feel, for Anthony Mantha are gonna be a team that needs that veteran preference, or that veteran presence. Sorry for stunting there. I apparently can't listen to music and and talk at the same time. I think the best landing spots for Anthony Mantha are going to be a team like your Dallas Stars. I know most of you guys are Dallas Stars fans. I think, with who you're losing, where it's going, that team's gonna need a piece of veteran presence rather. Comment if you got any other questions about hockey. I think the Mitch Marner story is going to dominate this summer. If you disagree with me, hop in the comments, hop on our page. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Peak One Sports Network. But I think the Mitch Marner news is the fact they're shopping him is a big deal. I don't think it's being covered enough. I don't think the NHL is talking enough about it because it's Mitch Marner. The dude makes $10.9 million a year. He's one of the best forwards in the NHL. So if you got an idea of where you think he's going to land, let us know. I think, he's going to be one of those dudes who forces himself into another major city. Chicago has room. Detroit has room. I don't think he's going to. I don't think Toronto can take the pay, but I think he's going somewhere that's gonna be a big city for hockey, or he's gonna go and do the Marc-Andre Fleury and go to Marc-Andre Fleury went to Vegas, but go to Utah. The Coyotes moving to Utah, and the Utah hockey team, dumbest hockey name of all time. They're going to need a big name. And I think Mitch Marner is the right fit for that. I think he needs a new start. The other thing we didn't get to is possible landing spots for Patrik Laine. Patrik Laine has officially spoken to the NHL, or not the NHL, the Columbus Blue Jackets, and asked to have a change of scenery. I wish I'd had Mark on for this part, but I'm not sure where Patrik Laine can end up. I'll look up his cap hit, but I'm not sure where he can end up. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Where he can end up with a cap hit as high as his. Hold on, got it pulled up right now. $8.7 million. $8.7 million for Patrik Laine. That is a huge cap hit for a guy who's had his troubles. He came out of the player assistance program this year. Wish him all the best. Like, I'm not trying to attack Patrik Laine. He's a fantastic player. 0.082 points per game. Has had a real great career so far, and he's still young enough to make a difference for any team that he joins. Being only 26 years old, I I'm not sure where the best landing spot is for him. He's the type of guy who needs to not be in the under a microscope right now. He, in Columbus, he's not really under the microscope, but he is, underperformed. When he was in Winnipeg, it's hockey in Canada. You're on hockey night in Canada, at least a few times a year. So I'm thinking, you're gotta look teams that are not under a microscope. Tampa is a team that I feel is under the microscope. Just having attended games there with my mom and brothers, the building is I don't want to say electric because they're the Bolts, but the building's electric. It's one of the best hockey buildings I've ever been in. I think he'll be under a microscope there. So maybe the Panthers, maybe the Stars. I feel like he's going to look for somewhere that is not where he's got to be the only guy. But that said, all right, I'm about 12 minutes short. But that said, I'm gonna check out here, boys and girls, you puckers and puckerettes. Do me a favor, guys. Give us a like and a follow on Peak One Sports. Also, throw out some Happy Father's Day because it was Adam's first Father's Day. He had to work through it and got to celebrate tonight. That's why he only got to hop on for a little bit. Throw him some Happy Father's Day wishes. Hope y'all had a Happy Father's Day. Hope y'all have a happy Pride. Hope y'all had a happy Juneteenth, especially Ashton, you down in Galveston. I'll be back here next week. My name is Reckless. You can find me on Instagram at Captain Fuck Pants. You can find me on Facebook and on Twitter at Kenny Mays. I'll be here, same bat time, same bat place. Have a good night.
We talk hockey non-stop, goals and assists, you don't wanna miss. Shut the puck up, hit the ice with us, pucks flying fast, we're your hockey podcast. Shut the puck up, we talk hockey non-stop, goals and assists, you don't wanna miss. Shut the puck up, hit the ice with us, pucks flying fast, we're your hockey podcast. Shut the puck up, lace your skates real tight, breakaways and fights, stay with us all night. Shut the puck up, hear the slap shot sound, for every face-off round, we're the best around. Shut the puck up, join the rink, you score, check your hockey lore, you'll be back for more. One more time with us, now shout it out loud. Shut the puck up, let's make our city proud. Shut the puck up, let's make our city proud. Shut the puck up, let's make our city proud.